Do you really want a Wrangler but desperately want a truck bed? This might be for you, but there's a couple things to keep in mind before you go out and buy the brand new Jeep Gladiator. Stay tuned and I'll tell you more. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Paul Fix, and this is the brand new 2020 Jeep Gladiator. This particular one right here is an Overland, and it actually comes in a couple different trims. We'll get into that in a minute. What's really interesting about this is that while it looks a lot like a Wrangler, it only shares a couple of similarities with it, being part of the suspension, part of the chassis, most of the design, but really it's a really exciting venture for Jeep. It's got way too much stuff stuffed into it, especially when we get into the back seat, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm actually really excited for this. I didn't think I would be at first, but it's definitely proven to be incredible off-road, very comfortable on-road, and quite livable. So let's get right into it. You have a 3.6 liter Pentastar engine with engine start-stop. You got 8-speed automatic transmission in this particular one. It does also come with a manual transmission. This car is just like a Wrangler. It drives, it kind of meets the same purposes as a Wrangler, but it has the unique functionality of a pickup truck and actually a lot of the underpinnings and mechanics of the Ram 1500 from the FCA lineup. Makes it quite capable. Let's look at the back. Now, the bed is actually pretty exciting. This particular one is not lined, but you can get it with a spray-in liner. It's got a soft close trunk, and there's even a halfway point that you can put the bed at. There we go. And this is able to hold 19 sheets of drywall, along with, I think it's like 10 planks of wood. It actually sits just over the wheel wells and then on this, so it just allows some additional functionality depending on what you're hauling. There's also this fold back, which is soft and actually folds right up against the rear window, which means you can put more stuff in here, especially if you're hauling ATVs or motorcycles. There's also a couple options back here, including D-rings that fold away and a 150 volt power outlet for if you're tailgating or you're doing some work back here and you need some extra functionality with the truck. Let's take a look at these big, gnarly wheels. They're actually uprated to a higher weight capacity because the truck is able to hold so much. Plus, it's got all kinds of custom suspension underneath. I mean, this car was built from the ground up specifically to be a pickup truck, and so they actually used pieces from other cars and designed specifically this. This is on its own chassis. This does not borrow a chassis from another vehicle, even though it does look similar and have some similar underpinnings to other vehicles. There's two wheel options that come with the vehicle. The first one is this all-terrain, and then there's also a mud terrain, the big knobby one for if you want to go off-roading. Both of them are very capable. We've been driving on this one all day, but I just took in the off-road section the mud terrain tire, and I was going at pretty steep angles, and it was gripping on the little rocks as I was jumping all over the place. Now, while we're on that note, there's skid plates underneath this entire vehicle, plus even on the Rubicon, there are some rocker bars in the front and back that protect the vehicle and keep rocks from hitting the bodywork. So we've stopped here at the top of a mountain, and I'm gonna spit off a couple of statistics for you gearheads out there that really wanna know the true capabilities of the Jeep Gladiator. This midsize truck is optimized for off-road capability and towing and payload. It actually has a 1,600 pound payload and a 7,600 pound towing capacity. That makes it best in class. That's pretty damn impressive. For the engine, we are rocking a 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 with engine start-stop, and available in 2020 will be a 3 liter diesel V6. I'm actually pretty excited for that. There are two transmission offerings in the 6-speed manual and the 8-speed automatic. The automatic is a tried and true version from the Wrangler, and it actually drives very smoothly, but also is able to deliver power when necessary. The manual transmission is smooth, but does not offer as much off-road capability as it doesn't have automated systems for rock crawling and mud ruts, etc. Every Gladiator offers the 4th generation Uconnect system, either at 7 inches or 8.4 inches, and both of them have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I'm very happy for. It's starting to become a standard in the industry, so it's nice to see it on a car that is so traditional in its build, but is actually really hopped up with a lot of modern technology. The Gladiator has more than 80 safety systems that are standard on other vehicles in the Jeep lineup and the FCA lineup. So if you are a standard driver, want to take it as a day-to-day vehicle, then you're going to have the peace of mind of having the car being able to help you out in tricky situations. Now, the interior of the Gladiator is actually really interesting, and to go more into that, let's go over to the car.
Hi, my name is Trevor Dorches. I'm the Product Communications Manager for the 2020 Jeep Gladiator, and we're here today to talk about the Backseat. It's an exclusive design to Gladiator, different than our Wrangler. Has it up a couple different seating positions. They flip up, stadium style. They fold down, lay flat, both sides. A lot of room to fit stuff on there as well. And then you can fold it back up. Stadium style gives way to a storage bin, lockable storage at the top, and it's available through our trail rail cargo management system. 5 different dividers. It's lockable with the key that you use that comes with the truck, and the bin itself is removable. We also have an available wireless Bluetooth speaker that sits behind the chair as well. Many different configurations. So
I wanted to point out these real quick. They're in the door hinge, and they're covered in canvas through these hooks that actually connect the door with the bodywork, and you can actually unhook them to take the door off. Additionally, this being the door handle, you can grab it this way. You can also grab it this way, which is really convenient when you're actually taking the door off of the hinges.
Jeep is claiming that this is the most capable mid-sized truck in its segment. It has Command Track, which is a special 4x4 system with a 2.72 to 1 crawl ratio, can be activated while in motion, and you can even put the car into neutral if you want to haul it flat, all 4 wheels in the road behind maybe your other truck or your motorhome. Now, for you guys and gals out there that really like rock crawling and going off-road and adventuring, there's a couple statistics that you are going to want to know. First off, approach angle. The approach angle for the Sport and the Overland are 40.8 degrees, and for the Rubicon, it is 43.4 degrees. For the breakover angle, it's 18.4 and 20.3 respectively. For the departure angle, it's 25 degrees and 26 degrees respectively. And for ground clearance, it is 10 inches and 11.1 inches respectively. The Rubicon actually has more travel, more articulation, higher fenders, and is actually more capable in off-road situations for clearance. We're also told by Jeep that there's water fording up to 30 inches, but we haven't actually gotten any rain out here yet. Jeep also tells us there's going to be about 200 Mopar parts available to modify the Jeep Gladiator, so keep an eye out for that when the vehicle launches, and you can customize it to your liking.
Now, a lot of this vehicle is very modular. You can take all the doors off. I assume that there are some Mopar parts that you can do to replace the doors, but of course, there is a huge aftermarket for Jeeps. Additionally, this roof comes off. There's 3 different variants, a full hard top, a sectional hard top, and a soft top. And let me actually show you what that looks like when you take that off.
we're here to show you how to remove the soft top on the 2020 Jeep Gladiator. So you start here in the rear corner. Here, you pull the tab. Here. Pops off. First centerpiece goes off. Pull out here. There's a tab in the bottom, you pull that out. You separate the window here. Pull out the frame. Place that in the back. And just like on our JL, pull out the bottom tab. There we go. And then to put the soft top back itself, here, 2 latches, push up. Done.
Here we are inside of the 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I'm going to go over a couple things about the interior. First off is the seating position. It's actually really comfortable, very similar to the Wrangler. Kind of upright, you kind of feel like you're floating over the road, but it's actually very comfortable. Now about the lumbar, because I know you're going to ask, this particular vehicle I'm sitting in right now is not Lauren Fix lumbar approved. The steering wheel is nice and beefy, as is very common with Jeep vehicles, something I've always really liked about them. You feel like you have more control, I feel, when you have a nice beefy steering wheel. The center console is exactly the same as the Wrangler, very easy to use. It has the 4th generation Uconnect system with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. A nice touch is that all the little metal pieces with all the little screws all over the dash are actual real metal And I just think that adds to the quality of the vehicle in general. The ride is somewhat comfortable. You kind of feel like you're floating over the road. You get lots of bumps. The car can get a little unsettled, especially if you're going over speed bumps or potholes. So really you just have to slow down to be able to compensate for how the suspension it rides. It's kind of high, it's a little soft. The steering is also a little imprecise. You have to adjust a little bit when you're on the highway. Now, this is actually really great for going off-road. If you're driving in the dirt, the steering is a lot more forgiving in that way, but when you're on the road, it just means you have to pay a little bit more attention. The wind noise in the Gladiator is a bit much when you're at highway speeds. I mean, you're essentially a brick in the wind, and anybody who's driven another Jeep knows that this is just something that you deal with. It's one of the necessary evils of buying a vehicle like this, and this being a truck, it's, you know, it's just like any other truck. It's a brick in the wind. Just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that in the winter, you're definitely going to want to get one of the hard tops. The insulation on these vehicles, because the doors are so thin, means that it's just not going to stay as warm. The Gladiator is somewhat based off of the original Gladiator, and it kind of serves the same purpose as the Wrangler these days. It's a throwback. People love it because it's so classic, because it meets the needs while providing that nostalgic feel. So it actually doesn't have some of the creature comforts that modern vehicles have these days, but the kind of people that buy these trucks and buy the Wrangler, they don't care. They're buying the Gladiator, they're buying the Wrangler because they really want the experience of owning one. And it has that charm, that je ne sais quoi, that really makes it what it is. So if you're going to buy one of these, you have to keep that in mind, that it's just not going to be as refined. Towing doesn't feel as refined in similar manner as to for instance, the new Ford Ranger. It just doesn't have as many electronic assists to be able to make it this seamless experience so that anybody who's never towed a trailer or a boat or whatnot before can do it. The Wrangler is a little bit more manual. And that's not to say that, you know, people haven't been using trucks to haul stuff for years before all this electronic stuff came out. So essentially, if you know how to tow, or if you can teach yourself how to tow, you are not going to have a problem with the Gladiator. It is very capable in its own right, even without the electronic assists. And now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the prices. Gladiator Sport starts at $33,545. The Sport S is available at $36,745. The Overland starts at $40,395, and the Rubicon starts at $43,545. We are told that top-end trim could reach up to about $60,000. If you are one of the lucky ones to get a launch edition of the Gladiator, that is going to be $60,815. But get them quick, because there's only 4,190 of them, and they're on pre-order. If you are watching this before April 4th, 2019, then you have the opportunity to jump online live and pre-order a vehicle and hopefully get a launch edition before the vehicle itself launches. And if you do, you may be one of the lucky people to have your salary paid for an entire year so that you can go out and adventure in your brand new, fully loaded Rubicon launch edition. And it's all on Jeep, so I think it's a pretty good deal. Why don't you go out, try to get the car. If you really want to get it right off the bat, if you got the money to spend, I think it sounds like a great deal. We're going to close things out here in the bed of the 2020 Jeep Gladiator, probably the perfect place because the bed is what makes it what it is. Now, who is this vehicle really for? I would say anybody that really wanted a Wrangler but really hoped that it would have more utility, like a mid-sized truck, or anybody that's looking for a truck but really want some off-road capability. I think it's the perfect marriage between the two. And as I talked about earlier, it has a couple of compromises, but I think if you're looking for these things, the perfect compromise. So I'm really happy with the Gladiator. It was definitely more utilitarian, more capable than I was ever really expecting. And I think I probably could own one myself as a daily driver or even as a second car. Please let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you go out and test drive one when they're available in dealerships, I'd love to know your opinions. And we will see you next time. But first, I'm actually going to throw up a bunch of pictures from the event. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and then check out the related videos at the end if you want to see more from Car Coach Reports. We'll see you next time.